Oh God, no, no. I think I'm. Am I live? I'm live. Hey, welcome to Mixing Night. My name is Ken Lewis, and I make records for a living. I have the weirdest discography in the entire music industry, with 101 gold records to back that shit up. So tonight is the income episode. What? It's been a monumental undertaking, and it's to put this show together. And I've had a ton of help from the Mixing Night community. I want to give shout outs later in the show to all of you guys who helped and girls. Thank you so much. Tonight I'm breaking down income streams for artists, producers, and engineers, what they are, where to find them, who collects them, and how you can get paid. So I'm going to be going through every facet that I've been able to cover throughout the entire night. It is fairly comprehensive. Um, and there's going to be some info that I miss on the fringes, but for the most part it's going to be the most comprehensive 2 hours of income education in the music industry that you've ever had. So strap in and let's go. Let's see. uh, I'm in the vaccination group 1C in the state of New Jersey, which means that I will be getting vaccinated very soon for COVID, hopefully in a week or two for my first shot, and then a month later after that, and then I will be immune. And I encourage everybody, we're losing 4,000 people a day in America. We hit 400,000 dead. Everybody should be masking up, social distancing. That shit works. And, let's get this shit under control. I want to have a life again. I do hear that touring most likely is not going to come back until 2022. I'm sure we'll see a little bit of touring in the fall, but for the most part, what I'm hearing is touring is not coming back till 2022. So we still have a long road ahead of us, people. And, make the best of it. So if this is your first broadcast, welcome to my live stream. Stick around, subscribe, jump on the chat roll, but keep it respectful and don't feed the trolls. I've got a great show lined up for you guys tonight. It's the income episode. My special guest tonight is Jake from Creative Rebel Society. He has an absolute wealth of high-level music industry knowledge, mostly in management. And I did a fantastic Reddit AMA this afternoon on r artist underscore development with Jake. That's his Reddit forum. So he's a brilliant writer. And if you want to read somebody who writes very poignant, applicable information for artists and creatives in the music industry, the Creative Rebel Society blog is just absolutely fantastic. He really just is laying it all out for you guys. So Jake from Creative Rebel Society later. In a moment, I'm sprint mixing the killer pop song. It's actually pop EDM, called Temptation by Sugar Jesus featuring K.R.N. If you don't know what sprint mixing is, okay. Imagine somebody invented a real-life action game, single-player, video game, but for mixing. That's sprint mixing. Boom. That's what I did, and you're about to see it. It's fun as hell. It's all in the box. I'm mixing on the SSL, but I'm using when I hit this blue button, I switch between analog and digital on the SSL. So right now I'm controlling. If I had Pro Tools up, I would be controlling Pro Tools. Now I'm controlling the analog half. So when you see me sprint mix, it's in the box using the controller half. So you can do this with a mouse or a controller pack or whatever. You can sprint mix too. It's fun as hell. Check it out, and it improves your instincts and your abilities just so fast. It's all about striking great balances. The number one skill in mixing is the innate ability to easily strike great balances, and that's what sprint mixing teaches you. So that's coming in 5 minutes. Temptation from Sugar Jesus. What else we got tonight? And the sprints are for every level, from very beginner to all the way through Jedi. Ear training tonight is rapid fire frequencies. It's going to be a little bit easier than the last one. I've given you a little bit more time to listen, to decide what frequency you're hearing, but that's, what time is that going to be? I think ear training is probably going to be 9:15, 9:20 tonight. Marcus Manderson, Mixing Night Man of Mystery, is going to bring you a killer segment on creative tools. Marcus is always bringing you the best information, so stay tuned for him. I'll probably run his segment around 9 o'clock. I've got, I don't yet exactly know how, let's see. I don't know exactly how I'm going to lay all of this information out yet, so I don't know what sections are going to come out at what points of the show, but I'm covering all income streams that I could track down and account for artists, for producers, and for engineers. And again, where they come from, who collects them, and how you get them. So that's going to be the bulk of the show. You guys can jump on the chat roll live and ask me any questions that you want. I'll try and get to them and answer them on the show. I have somebody on the chat roll collecting the best questions and feeding them to me in front of me. So don't feel like you're shouting into a void if you're on the chat roll trying to get a question answered. Let's see, what else is going on? Shout out to my Discord community. They were really instrumental in helping put this show together. The income episode, I reached out to them and asked who could help, and a whole bunch of people really responded and came through and made this a much easier and more comprehensive show to put together. So, okay, enough talk. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to sprint mix Temptation by Sugar Jesus. Now, okay, the original mix was maybe 70 stems, and I probably spent 6 or 8 hours mixing the original full mix. And then after I finished the original full mix, I stemmed it out into 30 mixed stems. And then I sent them off to Dominic, who's co-founder of Mixing Night, and I asked Dominic to randomize them for me so I don't know what fader is supposed to go where, and send them back. And that's what sprints is. 10 minutes on the clock, all faders down, you hit go, and you have 10 minutes to make a 3-minute song sound like the best rough mix that you can possibly get. So that's what sprint mixing is. It's all about striking great balances and dialing in your instincts, especially your balancing instincts, your ability to just listen to two things and just instinctively know what the balance between those things should be. You do that 150 times in an hour every time that you're working on something, whether it's mixing or production or recording. You're always balancing something against something else, and that's what sprints are teaching you. So as soon as this Pro Tools session fires up, I'm going to mask up. And I don't know if you guys have seen the Mazzy cam, but Mazzy was feeling under the weather on January 6th show. She got 6 teeth pulled, that poor girl, but she still got her sharp ones. So Mazzy's back, and the Mazikeen cam is in effect tonight. So send your love to Mazzy. She healed up nicely. Her teeth and mouth are feeling great, and she's happy dog again. So great to have her. Okay, I think I'm done with that. Let me fire up Temptation. Come on. At the end of the show, I'm going to do one more sprint mix. Whenever the whole thing wraps up, I'm going to close the show with a sprint mix of the Skrizzly Adams single 28, which is like one of my favorite songs I've ever produced. I just absolutely love that song, the energy of it, the message of it, the live strings, the live drums, everything just feels great. So that's going to end the show, Skrizzly Adams 28, and I'm going to start the show with Sugar Jesus Temptation, 10 minutes on the clock. You see? And let me put on the heavy metal lights. Gotta get the blood flowing. Boom. Alright, here we go. Sprint mixing time.
fantasy. Once you come, you never be there to feel me get inside your head.
Give your love to me. Let me be the air you breathe. Can you belong to me? Let me be the air you breathe.
Want you to be there to feel me get inside.
Hold you over the edge. You won't never forget. I'm gonna
Still you, away from yourself. Put you under my spell. Put you under my spell.
give your love to give your love to me. Let me be the air you breathe. Temptation, you belong to me. Let me be the air you breathe. Your love to me. Let me be the air you breathe. Temptation.
So you'll notice in 5 minutes I have every single track of the 30 tracks in the mix, and now I can work on the next 5 minutes making it sound like a finished record as much as possible.
Love to me.
Follow me. Let me be the air you breathe. I'm your fantasy. Once you come, you never leave. Come and follow me. Let me be the air you breathe. I'm your fantasy. Once you come, you never leave. Want you to be there to feel me get inside your head. Hold you over the edge. You won't ever forget. I'm gonna heal you. Still you away from yourself. Put you under my spell. Got you under my spell. Want you to be there to feel me get inside the edge. Want you to be there to feel me get inside your head. Hold you over the edge. You won't ever forget. I'm gonna heal you. Still you away from yourself. Put you under my spell. Got you under my spell. Want you to be there to feel me get inside your head. Hold you over the edge. You won't ever forget. I'm gonna heal you. Still you away from yourself. Put you under my spell. Got you my spell. Want you there to feel me get inside your head. Hold you edge. You won't ever forget. I'm gonna heal you. Still you away from yourself. Put you under my spell. Got you under my spell.
Want you to be there to feel me get inside your head. Hold you over the edge.
You won't ever forget. I'm gonna heal you. Still you away from yourself. Put you under my spell. Got you under my spell. Want you to be there to feel me get inside your head. Hold you over. You won't ever forget. I'm gonna heal you. Still you away from yourself. Put you under my spell.
Give your love to me. Let me be the air you breathe. Temptation, you belong to me. Let me be the air you breathe. Temptation, give your love to me. Let me be the air you breathe. Temptation, you belong to me. Let me be the air you breathe. Temptation, give your love to me. Let me be the air you breathe. Temptation, you belong to me. Let me be Temptation, you be your love to me. Let me be the air you breathe. Temptation, you belong to me. Let me be the air you breathe.
Okay, Temptation, Sugar Jesus featuring K.R.N, Sprint Mixing. Welcome to Mixing Night. My name's Ken Lewis. This is the Income episode. Let me fix the lights and we will get back to our broadcast. One thing about the Sprint Mixing. One thing about the Sprint Mixing is that one I can tell the string is a little bit too loud. And why can't I get back to my regular scene? Here we go. Broadcast. Boom. Sorry. That's better. What was I saying? I can hear some things that are wrong, but for 10 minutes, it's a pretty solid, rough mix. And I haven't mixed that in several months. So I feel pretty good about how it all came together so quickly. I think the only other thing that I felt like I was a little shaky on was I don't think the drums are quite as solidly balanced as I would love them to be. But for 10 minutes in a Sprint Jedi level, I'm pretty happy with the way this turned out. You can buy that Sprint and do it yourself, level 1 through 6. They're all randomized and totally different each time. It's a new challenge at my school, audioschoolonline.com. audioschoolonline.com, that's my school. I create all the tutorials. I put them all up. It's usually like stuff that fills in the gaps that school doesn't teach you, plus all the Sprint mixes. So check out the Sprint mixes and many other good tutorials at Audio School Online. Before I forget, let me shout out everybody who helped with this episode. Man, I hope I don't leave anybody out. Lori Lewis, Dominic Ravinius, Rory Miller, MBI, Ian, Matt Thrasher, Mia, A&R admin at Cobalt. She has a site called miascorner.co, and you can catch her at Mia's Corner on Instagram as well. She was hugely helpful on a lot of the A&R admin stuff for publishing. Producer Rhythm J, Sam Champagne, Ben Kruger. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody. It really was a crowdsourced show. I felt like when I started putting this show together, one of the reasons that I wanted to do the Income episode was I felt like I was losing a little bit of touch with where all the money was and who was accounting for it and how it was collected. And I was like, if I'm losing touch, I know there's a whole lot of you guys out there who are just confused as fuck. So, moving on from Temptation, I'm gonna leave that session up in the background in case we want to pull up examples for anything. But straight on to the items at hand, which are income streams for artists, producers, and engineers. I think I'll start with artists. Where is here? Okay. So on screen, here you see the top level. Each one of these is a different potential income stream for an artist to tap into. Some of them overlap. Some of them you just won't tap into at all. Sometimes maybe you get all of them eventually. But let me go through them real quick. We're going to cover these more in depth throughout the show. And you can also ask very specific questions via the live chat roll right now if you have questions about the things that I'm covering and things that you want to know. I know this shit is so confusing, and trust me, you're not going to end a 2-hour show completely unconfused anymore. You may have to... I'm probably going to go back and watch this a few times just so I can get all the information absorbed. So, streaming and sales. That's one of the big pillars for artists. Streaming is like Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, Tidal. Those are the biggest ones. They're also the ones that pay out the least, but they're the ones that you get spun on the most, so they can pay you out really well. Sales is like, they still sell vinyl nowadays, so there's a little bit of boutique sales. CDs are almost done selling, and now it's down to iTunes, and even iTunes is going away. So, royalties from sales add up after you get recouped. Recoupment is how much you owe the label, and whenever you're done paying back the label after recoupment, then you start seeing streaming and sales. If you're an independent artist and you own your publishing and your master, then you start seeing streaming sales right away. It takes a long time to collect. Live performance. You've got concerts, and you've got probably a lot of stuff that young artists who have never tapped into this income source have no idea it exists. But trust me, if you're a known artist and sought after, there are going to be plenty of people seeking you out to play live, private, exclusive events, and these things pay really well sometimes. I mean, you can play private weddings for upwards of 6 figures sometimes. No shit. The Middle East is flying people out all the time to work. So concerts and especially private events can be very lucrative. Promo is, there's always going to be that, always. Merchandise is, T-shirts and shit like that. Usually you strike a deal with a merchandising company, and the merchandising company puts out all of the merchandise and, sells and distributes, and then you get a piece of it. Yeah, I mean, come to think of it, the group that I work with a lot, BTS, are merchandising kings. Oh my God. It's just incredible seeing, like, when I went to their concert, there must have been 3,000 or 4,000 of these big light orbs in the crowd that the sound guy could control, how they flashed all together, what lights they changed, and it affected the entire performance. Hey, Bay. Oh, we got Mazzy up here looking for treats. Let me oblige her. And I mean, they must have sold 4,000 of those $65 light orbs alone in one concert. You can imagine. BTS was the #1 touring artist worldwide in 2019. Among all artists in all genres and all countries, they were #1. So you might start studying what they're doing. So that's merchandising. Royalties kind of fall under streaming and sales, and they can also fall under publishing. Royalties is even merchandising royalties. Royalties is kind of one of these things that is, you hear it being called royalties or residuals or something like that. And basically what it is after the money that has been spent on the song to get it out there and make it successful has come back and been recouped. Usually that's the point where you start making royalties as an artist from your label and from the master. Where you start making royalties as an artist right away is publishing and songwriting, but it does take usually 2 or 3 quarters to collect. So if you have a hit song on the radio right now, you probably won't see any of that income in your pocket for 9 months, maybe 6 if you're lucky. It depends. But that's the typical payout schedule for your performance rights organization or a publisher. Okay, we're down to features. Artist features, like rapper features or, just any kind of collab. Singers feature on shit all the time. You won't get paid for these until and unless you are a known artist with a real fan base. I mean, nobody's going to pay you to do shit until you can actually bring heat and eyeballs to their music. So, but, man, once you get your weight up, you can make a lot of money doing features, but I would be very, very careful who you choose to collaborate with, who you feature with, because that's always your name and it's always your brand. So, as an artist, I think that's one of the most valuable things that you have. Make sure that your features make sense with your career. Endorsements. Be careful how you brand yourself. Don't just take anything just because people are offering free shit. Free shit is going to come at you very fast if you're a successful artist, and you got to, get really used to just ignoring it and, giving it away or telling people no. You can make other entertainment like acting, that kind of stuff, modeling, that kind of shit, any of that kind of stuff. When you sign a major record deal with a major label like a Sony or Atlantic or somebody like that, typically you're signing what's called a 360 deal, and you give up a piece of all of these rights. Sometimes you can hold on to some of some of them you don't have to give up a piece of every single one of these things up here. But typically a 360 deal means that the label takes a little slice to a big slice of every piece of the whole circle. And sometimes that's a good thing, because that hopefully is supposed to incentivize them to then spend money making you famous. That will then come back to money in your pocket, because they're making more money when they're spending money, and with successful results. So that's kind of how 360s work. Other entertainment, social platforms. My suggestion with social platforms with artists is you don't want to blanket all social platforms. You want to pick one or two that you can really spend time and invest in and dominate. And wait, am I? Oh, okay, I've got to bring Jake on in a moment. So let me get through the rest of this. So like, if you're going to be on TikTok, try and rule TikTok, but don't try and rule TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and, and Twitter and everything else. You can have a presence on all of those things, but typically you want to pick one or two platforms to really focus your time and energy on building a real fan base, and let that be the main driver for everything else. And then you also have streaming and Spotify and shit like that. Okay, so I'm going to get back to all of this stuff. Publishing obviously is huge for artists. Artists only make publishing income if you write or co-write your own songs. So if you're writing songs yourself, then you make publishing as a songwriter. Write songs for others, you make publishing as a songwriter, or writing songs for sync either as an artist or a writer. Then you can make income publishing that way as an artist as well. Okay, so I'm going to bring on Jake from Creative Rebel Society. We did a Reddit AMA today that was really fantastic. And his... Oh, wait. Come on. Oh, there we go. Woo. This might be loud.
Hey,
Jake.
dude.
Jake, how are you, man?
I'm very well. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine. I think my people on my chat roll will tell me if they can't hear you. So.
Hey,
Jake, how are you, man?
So,
I'm very well. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine.
No, hang on a second.
My people on my chat roll will tell me if they can't hear you. So.
Do you want to call me right back?
Can you hear me now?
I gotcha.
Good, man.
All right. Jake from Creative Rebel Society, please tell some people about yourself. I'll just give you the quick spiel. I found your writing, I think on Reddit, or I don't know, somewhere, but you write a blog called Creative Rebel Society. And it's kind of like a somewhat similar to a Bob Lefsetz type of a thing, but it's really driven for, insights for artists from a top level person who's been through it all. And I found your writing to be just absolutely stellar.
Well, thank you very much. That's very kind of you.
Yeah, it's rare that I that I find anybody who's like really, I feel like, is smart and connective, but also giving people information that they really, really can benefit from. I think that's what drew me to you the most. Was I was just reading this stuff and I was like, wow, I wish everybody was dropping knowledge like this. This is really incredible. So everybody should definitely check out your blog and all of the stuff that you've written up there. Tell us more about what you do.
So yeah, I've been in the music industry for 28 years, mostly as a manager. But I started off promoting raves and just like in a wee sort of club in the north of Scotland. And yeah, it was like 90 people, then I built it up to about 500 people. And it just all kind of happened really naturally. This is like 92, 93, 94. And I started meeting DJs. DJs didn't have any agents or managers or anything like that. So they asked me to start negotiating some deals for them. And it's just something I kind of sort of fell into. And I started managing more DJs. And, I don't know if you remember, Ken, those old bricks of mobiles used to have. I used to start getting phone calls from like record labels. And I wasn't even representing these DJs, but they just passed on my information. People I were helping out. And it just kind of grew from there. And I started working with more DJs. And then I started finding artists that were being really successful.
There you go.
So I managed, at one point, I had 7 or 8 DJs in the DJ Mag Top 100.
That's crazy.
Is the guideline for, the biggest DJs in the world. The biggest DJ I had was a guy called Mauro Picotto. He was number 7 in the world. And yeah, we kind of built it up from nothing. And it was, just out touring, gigging all the time. Mauro Picotto had 21 top 40 hits just around Europe.
Wow.
But that was just for himself, including all the ghostwriting. I mean, in total, of artists, I've had 49 top 40 hits, 16 top 10s, 4 top 10 albums, #1 singles, #1 albums, toured the world.
Now, do you guys see why you should be reading this guy's blog? I mean, this guy is he's like, you're such a deep well of knowledge. This is ridiculous.
Well, it's kind of you to say, but it's just there was so much luck involved. But to be honest, there was a lot of passion, a lot of drive. The dance music scene was so young and fresh, and there hadn't really got the infrastructure that it does now. It's now very professional and it's huge business. But back then, it was just the Wild West. So we were just kind of like, there was no great plan. I have to say that with all my clients, it was always very strategic. But with my own life, there's been no great plan. It's been stumbling onto one thing, did a good job of that. They introduced me to somebody else, and I did that very well. And it really has just been like that. But I mean, it was crazy, crazy times. We would fly to Australia for 4 days. We would do 4 shows and fly back again. And that's from the UK, that's 24 hours each way. Ooh. And then I would go into the office. The following weekend, we might, do a Friday night in Hong Kong, and then Saturday night in Tokyo, and then fly back to the office. So it was. I did this with Mauro Picotto. I managed him for 9 years.
That is a grind, man.
Number 7 in the world, but all those 9 years, he was a top 100 DJ globally. And we took January off, but other than that, we were out every weekend touring internationally.
That is incredible.
Yeah, and it was a real blast. And from there, we kind of built an events brand around him. So we had bi-monthly residencies, Twilo in New York, Space Miami, Ministry Sound London. So that's what we kind of did. And then we started hosting arenas and major dance music festivals, Creamfields, Skull Beats in Brazil. And then from there, we kind of built that into our own club night in Ibiza, Privilege in Ibiza. And we did that for 6 seasons, and that was 6,000 every Wednesday.
Crazy.
And it was just mad times, Ken, I can tell you.
You and I were talking a lot earlier about like artists and I guess you would call it mental health or staying out of their own head, and the one-hit wonder syndrome and the just artists always overthinking things. Can you talk a little bit about what we were talking about earlier, just on that topic?
Sure. It's a passion of mine. So basically, to be successful in any sort of elite industry, or to get to the elite in any industry, such as music, it's 90% mental. And I say mental, it's mental stroke emotional. So in the same way, if you want to be an elite athlete, it's the same. Elite entrepreneurs, anywhere where it's a highly, highly competitive industry, you really, really need to be at the top of your mental game, because you can have all the skills, your writing skills, your performing skills, but if you're in your head and you don't feel the confidence, you're not going to be able to commit to it, and ultimately you're not going to be able to succeed. So this is such an incredibly important part of the artist's journey. And unfortunately for artists is that they tend to self-sabotage quite a lot, and they tend to get in their own way, not just out of fears and insecurities. And there's so many things that are going on. The motivation for an artist, particularly one that's dreamt of being, a successful artist for 10, 15, maybe 20 years since they were little kids, when they actually get that opportunity, they're so scared of losing it that they just work and work and work and work, and they're continually chasing the validation and the applause of strangers. And unfortunately what it is that it leaves them sort of unbalanced, and they lose motivations, and they get all in their heads that they can all come tumbling down, unfortunately.
And I'm sure you've been a witness to that many, many times. What are some of the ways that artists can maybe get around, get out of their own head and get some confidence in their own work?
Well, look, I mean, the first thing you need to do is when this situation comes up the most often after an artist has had some success. Now, whether that's 10,000 streams or 10 million streams, it's all relative. So the pressure's on, they get in their heads and they feel that they have to write something great. And of course, they're putting too much mental pressure on themselves. So they need to get out of their heads and stop trying to create something great and just write. Write rubbish. Because if you keep writing rubbish, your talent will kick in and eventually you'll write something great. But the point is not to focus on the great, it's to focus on quantity. And if you write enough, you will find quality. So there's tricks like that. Other things is that they just need to sort of calm down and do breathing exercises, get themselves out of their fear mode, which is, your fight or flight, and it's just calming themselves down. But there's so many little sort of tips and tricks. I think the biggest tip and trick that you could tell any artist is that you can only control your effort, your attitude, and your reactions. You can't control success. You can't control the reaction to your music. You can't control social media, the likes, the views. You can't control any of that. But unfortunately, artists will spend 80-90% of their energy worrying about that.
Right.
So it's about focusing on what you can actually control. So an elite athlete, if they're out and they're playing football, they can't control the team, they can't control the weather, they can't control the pitch. All they can control is how they play, and that's what they have to focus on. So if you focus all your energies on what you can actually control, disregard the rest, as difficult as that is, and that's how you get peak performance.
I love the suggestion to write rubbish, because especially if you've tasted any success, it's really hard to write or create anything anymore that doesn't live up to the top bar of success that you've hit. And it's like all of a sudden so many artists think that every single thing they have to do after that is has to be of that caliber, and they're thinking that from the very beginning and not just letting the creativity flow and see what happens. I think that's basically what you're talking about. I've seen that so many times, and I love that. Just write rubbish until it gets good.
Yeah, but see, the thing is that artists have got this thing that once you build up a level of status, and as I say, that could be 10,000 streams or 10 million streams. The whole anxiety comes from losing that status. So therefore, they feel they have to be perfect. And of course, perfection doesn't exist, right? So they have such high expectations. And even when they write something really, really good, in their heads, it's just rubbish. And it's really getting them out of all that. But yeah, absolutely. Really what you try to do is get people out of their heads and just let their creativity flow. Because that is what they originally did to write this music or to get signed or to have success in the first place,
When is the right time for an artist to seek a manager of your caliber?
Professional managers find artists, and artists don't find them.
Thank you.
And to anyone that's listening to this, if you're looking for a manager, which is essentially your next step, you have to go out there and you have to build a story yourself. You have to get your streams. You have to get your fan base. Like, for example, when I was a manager, I wouldn't take on any artist that wasn't selling at least 300 tickets in their hometown. Because if they can't sell 300 tickets in their hometown, they're not going to be able to sell that in London or Manchester.
You can
or
scale
LA
that up, right? You can see success in one market and know with your skill sets how to expand on that. But without the initial success in one market, you have nothing.
Absolutely. As I say, if you can't do it at home, you're not going to be able to do it in a town where you don't know anybody. So that's the most important thing for me. And the reason for that is that artists, as you did with a very good artist income breakdown, I have to say, which I watched before jumping on this call, as you highlighted, that live is, whilst it does take a while to break even and actually make money as an artist, but it will become your main source of income. As a successful artist. So the point is that from a managerial point of view, if you're going to invest that time and money into it, you want to be able to see an artist that can actually sell tickets. Because if you can't sell tickets, you're going to struggle.
Right. And it's not looking like the concert schedule is going to come back until late 2021 or 22. So we're going to have a while for live concerts again.
But the plus side, it means that artists can spend more time mastering their art, their hooks, and getting Spotify right, because there's more people making money on Spotify or independent artists earning a living now than ever before, as bad as Spotify is viewed at times.
That is true, and I'm definitely going to be breaking that down as to why later on in my show, and because I see so much hate against Spotify, and I'm like, I get it, but Spotify to me is the great equalizer. You know, if an artist can figure out how to stream, you know, get 1 million fans listening every month, that is an income that they can tap into and live on and grow from and expand. And that you couldn't do that before things like Spotify unless you kind of got really lucky, you know. So I feel like it's opening the doors for independent artists to stay independent and be successful in streaming land. Without having to commit to a label too early.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's a report in Music Business Worldwide, and in the UK, there's at least 1,000 artists, independent artists, who are earning a 6-figure salary just from Spotify. Now, that didn't exist.
1,000.
Some context is the UK's only got 70 million population, so 1,000 artists who are earning at least 6 figures.
That's the UK alone?
Yeah, UK alone. Yeah.
Holy shit, that's amazing. Because yeah, I mean that's the thing that I think most young artists and creators coming up don't understand is just how high that bar is set to monetize your music. It used to be that you basically almost had to get a major label record deal of some kind and then go through that system to monetize, but now you kind of got to prove yourself first before they'll even touch you. So I don't know, weird times. Do you have any other I need to wrap this up and get back to the show, but do you have any last great sage suggestions as a manager for artists or producers or engineers?
I think that developing artists and engineers should stop focusing about, depending where they are in their journey, but they should stop focusing so much on this big goal of being a success and mastering their art and their craft. And the key thing to master is connecting with an audience, because ultimately it's building an audience that will allow you to sell tickets, to get streams, that will allow you to get a manager. So for your next stage, I think people look too far in the future and go, okay, I want to be successful, I want to be #1 in Billboard or whatever, and it's too big a goal.
Right.
To break it down, I think you need to say, right, I'm going to go and master the craft of writing music, songwriting, and lyrics in order to connect with an audience. Build up an audience to such a point where a professional manager goes and comes in and starts investing the time in them, and then take it to the next level. So in other words, break down all your goals.
I like that a lot. I do think when I talk to a lot of young independent artists, you can see the goals and you can see that there's no in between. There's I'm going to be a major label artist, and that's if I fail at that, then I'm basically failed at life. And I'm like, are you fucking crazy? Like, first, do this because you love it and you can't imagine yourself doing anything else, and then just grind 24/7, and hopefully you'll get there.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about the drive. You've got to want this more than anything. And as you've just said, you've got to want it because you love doing it. So you've got to love it as a hobby, or as a business, or as a vocation. Whatever it is, you've got to love it. But first you've got to love it as a hobby, and then get so good at it that it becomes a business. Yeah,
that's really the thing. And I think anybody in our positions would tell any of those people that I would be making music whether I was getting paid to do it or not still today. I just got lucky and worked my ass off and got a career in this shit, so I get to do it. But the great secret is I'd be doing this shit for free if I wasn't successful. So you gotta do it for the love first, and everything else second. So I've got to get back to my show, but wow, this was an absolutely fantastic segment for my viewers. I learned a lot, so I mean, hopefully. Well, listen, thanks so much for giving us the opportunity, and I hope it was some value to your listeners. Now, you have a Reddit forum, artist development, artist_development, artist_development. And the blog is creativerebelsociety.substack.com. Okay, everybody should be reading that. Bookmark it. And it's just, if you got anything from this conversation, his blog just goes just as deep. So again, Jake from Creative Rebel Society, thank you so much, and I will talk to you again very soon.
Thank you, Ken. All the best to you.
Take care, man. Bye-bye. Knowledge bombs. Oh my God. Yeah. Wow. that is just like, where else are you going to get those insights? It's really crazy. I really love his insights on, and his blog is a lot of that type of a thing where, it's giving artists and creatives great tips on how to be more creative in ways that you wouldn't think, and that other people don't give similar advice. So definitely check him out. Okay, back to the income episode. This is Ken Lewis, Mixing Night. You found me. Let's see. It is, what else is on the agenda? So let me just take a quick agenda peek before okay, I got Marcus Manderson coming up. So one more time on the artist income, just so you can see the publishing and take one last look at all of the income streams. I'll take one off the chat roll before I move on to producers. Crystal Renee asks, hey Ken, how do you guys feel about some of the tech-inclusive ways of streaming music that are coming up, such as blockchain technology? I don't know quite enough about blockchain technology, but I believe that it has the potential to really level the playing field and allow you to track your income much more easily. However, this is the music industry, and they will find a way to fuck it up. So don't expect blockchain to be the magical fix. I hope it is, but tech and tracking and all of that stuff gets better every year, and I'm going to break down a lot of great tools during this broadcast. Street Glide asks, hey Ken, why do all A&Rs only want to talk to you after you do all the work and build a buzz? A lot of A&Rs and labels missed out on Tim McGraw because nobody wanted him, and etc. Everybody passed on Kanye except for Dame Dash. I mean, these things happen, but they're usually isolated stories. And the much more common story is the artist thinks that just because you think you're a fucking great artist, that everybody else is just going to magically get that and want to have a piece of that. And that's not the way the world works. You've got to go and connect with your fan base. Other people need to see that reactiveness from your fan base. You need to write great songs and perform them exceptionally well. And then once you've proven something on your own, that's when a label wants to get involved, because there are a gazillion artists trying to make it and have nothing going on. The ones who really have a bona fide shot at making it are the ones who can figure out how to do a bit of it on their own and, get up to a certain streaming level, or get a certain number of syncs, or, get streams on TikTok or whatever it is. And those are typically the artists that are going to get recognized and break through. They put in the work. Okay, let's go to engineering. So here is the engineering monetization. I've broken it down into subcategories for you guys. What do you think, Mazzy? Think the engineers want to figure out how to get paid? I came up in this business as a tracking engineer. That was my first main gig that I kind of branched everything off of. While I was a tracking engineer, I was teaching myself how to mix and how to produce and all of, songwriting and all of these things, and getting better at all of those things. But my entry into the business, my wedge into the music industry, started as a tracking engineer in a studio, and I expanded from there. So recording, you can, as a tracking engineer, you can charge hourly rate, or a per song rate, flat rate, or a flat rate on a day. Usually day rates are between like 8 and 12 hours. It's usually a set amount of time for a set amount of studio time and engineering time. But, everything's negotiable. You can charge a project rate, one lump sum for the entire project. I would encourage you to get as much of that up front and as you're going as you can, and don't wait for the end. Because it may not come through. Or you can barter and negotiate for rights in exchange for your engineering skills, or any combination of these. So, I barter all the time for as a producer, I'm always, their independent artists can't afford me as a producer, so we barter for rights, and we create great songs that I think are going to either stream well or sync well, and that are going to make me more than I would have made on my initial producer fee. Because the real money is in the masters and the publishing and the streaming and the sync and all of that stuff. And we make a lot of money in sync, so as a producer, that's a strategy of mine. Engineers don't have that ability. Okay, so that's the recording. Next income stream is mixing. Usually mixing is a flat fee. Occasionally you might mix hourly at a studio that's being booked hourly. I guess it's possible. Or you can negotiate and swap rights for mixing. I do that stuff on the regular, even now. But usually mixers are, I don't know, everybody sets their own rates, really. And I don't know how to tell you to set your own rates. You got to kind of figure that out on your own. One thing before I go on, I will tell you, if you're not aware of it, there's a website called SoundBetter. Let me pull it up. This is a great site for creatives, soundbetter.com. Now, it's really oversaturated right now, so don't be surprised if you get on here and you're just ignored, or you're all the way at the bottom, or whatever. It helps if you've got a pro level membership. They give you more opportunities and put you higher in the queue and things like that. But basically, SoundBetter is like a meeting hub for creatives. Artists can find any kind of talent: drummers, mix engineer, producer, tracking engineer, other vocalists, other musicians, you name it. They're all up on SoundBetter. You can find whoever you need. You can contract them directly through the site, and the site does allow you some protection from them just doing a shit job and taking your money. So SoundBetter, if you're not up on SoundBetter and you're looking for new income streams and sources as a creative, SoundBetter is, you got to be on SoundBetter. So check that out. Let's see. And my production partner Brent Colatalo is on SoundBetter, and he mixes on SoundBetter a lot, and he does very well on it. So you can check Brent's page out on SoundBetter and see what that is. And but it's a really dope site. Actually, one of the guys who used to be heavy at Waves is the founder of SoundBetter. Okay, you can do post-production. That's an income stream. Post-production is anything that syncs audio to video. Usually you're working on either TV commercials or, something behind the scene, putting a show together for a broadcast, something like that. It's all, behind the scenes, hourly work. You can do, as an engineer, you can be a live sound engineer. I had a Pooch on the show one time, Ken Van Druten, an old friend of mine. We go all the way back to college. Ken Pooch Van Druten was the front of house mixer for Linkin Park for their whole careers, among many others. And so you can be a front of house engineer. That's one that you have to work your way up to over many years. That's like mix engineer in the studio. Front of house, or you can be a monitor mixer. Those are the guys that are on the side of the stage mixing the monitor wedges, or more likely nowadays you're in-ear monitors. You can be a monitor mixer. You can be a roadie. You can help plug shit in. You can be an assistant learning the stuff and work your way up. All of that in the live sound field. And live sound's coming back. It's not going to go away. Although this last year and the coming year is going to be brutal. So no live sound right now. Editing, you can do cleanup, archival, noise removal, that kind of stuff, vocal tuning, session preparation, all of those kinds of things, basic editing. Now, mastering engineers. This is another profession that I think typically is a very long road to get to the point where anybody's going to allow you to master their stuff. And it usually requires you to, work as an assistant engineer at a bigger mastering house, or for a great mastering engineer, and really learn the craft from somebody who really knows. Because keep in mind, every top mastering engineer has at least one assistant right now, and every single one of those assistants is learning every single thing that they can from that amazing mastering engineer. So if you don't have somebody like that teaching you, and you want to raise yourself up to the level of great mastering engineer, how are you even going to get there? You're just guessing. So, go work for somebody else. I encourage this across the board. Go work for somebody else who's much better at doing what you want to do really well. Learn as much as you can from them, help them out as much as you can, and they will help you back. And learn your craft. The music industry ain't going away. We're all going to be, hopefully, we're all going to be making records for a long, long time in the future. And this is a career path. My career path professionally started 29 years ago. And I moved to New York City 27 years ago, I think. 1993 I moved to New York City. Crazy. And I knew when I first got there, I very much remember saying to myself, I think I'm pretty good right now. I think I got good skill sets. I know I can be better. I can't wait to see where I'm at in 5 years and 10 years and 15 years, because, man, the skills I'm going to have then are just going to be bananas. Because I was looking at guys like Tony Maserati, who were, a decade ahead of me, and seeing what they were doing and going, I want to be that guy. All right, he's a decade ahead of me. Okay, I got my work cut out for me. I know what I got to do. All right, here we go. And, and then off I went. I started out as I went to Berklee College of Music, graduated, went back to Ohio, where I'm born and raised, got an engineering gig at a studio in Dayton, and then a year later moved to New York City in 1993. Never looked back. Been here ever since. Okay, next income stream, assistant engineer or intern. While I was in school at Berklee in Boston, I had 2 different internships. One of those internships helped me get my New York City job when I moved to New York City, which it was Soundtrack Recording Studios. And I started on the intern schedule at Soundtrack New York, quickly moved up to assistant, quickly moved up to engineer. But I started as an intern, working for nothing. And here's the great thing about being an intern. They're not paying you except for in experience. And it's a great, great way to get a real world experience when you don't have any experience that qualifies you to be in the room or in the fucking building. The intern is there to facilitate everybody else to work. So your silver lining is that you get to sit there and observe and be in a professional environment and see how it all goes, see how everybody's working, see the interactions, see how people work with their clients, how they talk to each other. All of that stuff is incredibly valuable if you want to be a pro in this business. You can't just jump in and expect to know how to do this shit. You should go work for somebody else who's much better at it than you are. Learn as much as you can, work hard, and then over the course of years, work yourself up. It's a long road ahead of you, man. Okay, education. You can always, teach at university or high school. You can create tutorials. You can do online stuff. Education, there's always money to be had there. And then engineers get less of this, but it definitely happens. Endorsements, usually that's just like free plugins and shit for engineers. Every now and then I'll get like a free pair of speakers or something, but it doesn't happen very often, even for me. But I don't really look for much free gear. I have all the gear I need. Gear rental can be super lucrative depending on who your clientele is. I have a Sony C800G microphone, and when I was a tracking engineer in New York City, I would rent that microphone every single vocal session that I did, and that shit paid itself off in a year. And everything else on top of that was profit. And every single session I ever walked through the door, I had a C800G to record somebody in. So I'll tell you, a vocal microphone is definitely one of your best investments if you're any of the three, really, artist, producer, or engineer. One of the best things that you can invest in, period, if you plan on doing this long term, is one great vocal microphone. It will take you so far. Okay, so I think I've covered that. Do I have... DJ Jack from the chat roll asks, hey Ken, what makes a good tracking engineer? That's a great question, DJ Jack. Thank you. What makes a good tracking engineer? Usually, the best tracking engineers are invisible to the process, meaning the whole session is flowing, but you never really have to worry about what the engineer is doing. They're not in the way. They're not interjecting their opinion all the fucking time unless you as an artist are looking for it all the time. They're keeping the session moving without becoming a hindrance to the session. That's the best job of a tracking engineer. Be an invisible facilitator to let that session run as smoothly as possible. And anytime they look for you for creative input and support, then you can give it. Melodious Forever asks on the chat roll, hey Ken, when you worked for Cutting Room in New York City, did you know Mike Glowick and Susan Kerney? Sounds familiar? It's been a long time. Susan Kerney, was that my old assistant? I don't know. I had a female assistant there. I can't remember if that was her. Let's see. Street Glide asks, what about being an intern in my 50s? It's really hard after you've been making money to go back to making no money. Really, really hard. At least I assume that it is. And if you can do that, and somebody wants to train you and teach you, and you can make yourself valuable to them, and that's what you want to do, fuck, why not? I don't think there's, like, I'm a big Gary Vaynerchuk believer in kind of his mentality, which is, you know, you're never too old to fucking do what you want. You just got to be super realistic about it. If you want to start at 50 and think you're going to make a career out of this shit, it's possible. It's going to be really hard, but it's possible. If you want to start at 50 and have a lot of fun and work hard and maybe get your name on some records that people hear, I think that's a doable goal. I think that's totally a doable goal. Okay. I am going to go to Marcus Manderson, Mixing Night Man of Mystery. So he's going to show you an app called Jamber, which is really similar in functionality to a website called tuneregistry.com. They used to be owned by the same people, and then they kind of split into two things. I'm going to show you Tune Registry in a bit, but I want to show Marcus Manderson is going to show you Jamber. It's a great creative tool to organize all of your creatives and keep all of your splits and everything. So here's Marcus Manderson, Mixing Night Man of Mystery, with another fantastic segment, and I will be back in 3 minutes.
What's good, Mixing Night family? This is Marcus Manderson back with another Mixing Night Man of Mystery moment. In this Mixing Night Man of Mystery moment, we are going to talk all about income resources. You know what this episode is all about: income revenue streams for musicians, singers, songwriters, producers. So in this episode, I'm going to share a platform that I found really just a couple days ago that could be useful to all of us. It's called Jamber. Here we are on the website, Jamber, JAMMBER.com. And what this does is it allows you to keep track of your splits when you're creating songs, allows you to integrate with your PRO and Sound Exchange and all those different platforms. So I'm just going to do a quick overview of the website, and then we'll go into the app and I'll show you a quick overview of that. And then you can dive in if you're interested in learning more. Go to jamber.com. Here it is. Here's the overview of some of the graphics and things you might see within the app. Create together, get paid together automatically, provide streamlining split payments and unified dashboards for artists and collaborators all over the world. So you can see on the website here, you can have a dashboard, artists, money, advanced calculations. If you want, you can get into the details up top about getting pricing and clients and things like that. You can see some press releases on the Jamber app. White label split royalty payments. You can have the Jamber Split Pay app customized to fit your brand or your logo or your design and website and things like that. Unified dashboard here, and then advanced calculations and withholdings. You can read all about that and how they do the royalty payments and things like that here. I believe the payment they take is a percentage of the transaction fee or a dollar amount per payout. So definitely look into all of those there. You can see some testimonials there. So what we'll do right now is we will jump over to the app. Again, this is called the Splits app, Get Splits app. It is available for both iOS and Android devices. So what we'll do is I will dive into my app here, and I haven't opened it yet. So this is when you first open the app. Song splits made easy. Invite your co-writers to collaborate on a new project. Credit your co-writers, agree to percentage and proper credits and payments, and then register your song with splits. So let's go. So I just signed up for an account in the app on the iPad here, and you can enable push notifications if you want. I'm just going to say not now for now. No splits have been created. We will see, just diving into the app here, you can have profile, society, publishers. You can probably put in your PRO information. You can probably add a profile picture there. If we just create a split here, let's make up a fake title. We'll call it fake. and split type, writer on a song, a composition or collaborator. Other split details, you can have when you created the song, where you created the song, and then you can hit continue. If there are other people nearby, you can use Bluetooth to just get their information there. I'm going to hit close there. Then you can add collaborators. So if you want to add a collaborator, it looks like you can add the name and then email or phone there, or you can add from your contacts list. I'm going to skip that and just hit continue or save. And then we see what happens next. Your song split has been successfully created. So there you are on the song split screen for my song called Fake. You can go to splits here, look at the different splits. I can propose changes. I can set up chat. If I have other collaborators on here, we can chat within this app. And then you can also upload files, audio files, maybe some video files if needed, text files. And then let's talk money. Make sure you have your correct PRO registration information in there, and they will get all the credit for you. So Jamber looks like a great platform to integrate everything that we are learning about today with the income resources and the finances and things. So definitely check out Jamber, JAMMBER.com. Check out the Splits app and see if that can be helpful for all of us in our musical journey. All right, everyone, this is Marcus Manderson back with another Mixing Night Man of Mystery moment. Be safe and be well, everyone. All right, peace.
Marcus Manderson, Mixing Night Man of Mystery. Another great segment. Thank you, Marcus. So, on that note, I want to take you guys through the artist or producer financial trail of a song or a creation. So, you're going to have to do some reading here, but it's all up on screen for you. See if I can make this a bit bigger. I think you can see that. So, I thought about the whole process, and I was like, all right, if I'm a new artist, what is the process? Here's the process. Step 1, write a song. Actually, step 1 is write a whole bunch of songs all the time and hone your craft as long as it takes until you have written a song that you're like, wow, that's a great song. But you can be doing this process every single other song. It's just you need that wow song before anything is really going to start happening for you. So, step 1, write a great song or make a beat. Step 2, join a performance rights organization. These are called PROs, performance rights organizations, such as in America, such as ASCAP, BMI, CSAC. When you join a PRO, you need to set up a writer's account and a publisher's account. This does not mean that you're a published artist. This means you have your own personal publishing company under your PRO, and they collect your publishing half of your income from songwriting until you have a major publisher who would then take over a collection of that. But if you never have a major publisher, your performance rights organization collects your publishing. Okay. Step 3, set up an MLC account, Mechanical Licensing Collective. This is a direct result of the Music Modernization Act. So when you set up your PROs, your next step is to set up an MLC account to self-administer your own songwriting. The MLC collects mechanical royalties from streaming and download services in the U.S. for songwriters and music publishers. Let me read that one more time. The MLC, the Mechanical Licensing Collective, collects mechanical royalties from streaming and download services in the U.S. for songwriters and music publishers. Okay, that's what the MLC is, brand new. Step 3, set up an account with tuneregistry.com. That's going to look functionally a whole lot like Jamber that you just saw from Marcus. Register all of the rights to your song, including copyright, master rights. The great thing about like Tune Registry or Song Trust or Jamber or things like that is it's a one-stop shop. You can go to one place. You can register everything. You can do all of your splits. You can put your lyrics in. Everything that needs to be tracked about that song can go into this one app now. How convenient is that? Oh, God, I would have killed for something like that when I was younger. Okay, so... And then, so set up an account with Tune Registry, register all of your rights, and then step 4 is pick a distributor. If you're newer, you're probably going to pick either DistroKid, TuneCore, or CD Baby. Those are the main kind of street level ones. DistroKid is the one that I've usually leaned towards. It's like $30 a year. I think it's a flat rate. You can upload as many songs as you want. They handle your splits and your collection for you. If you have co-writers, they collect and pay out your co-writers automatically. You never touch the money. You can show your co-writers what the splits are so that there's no distrust between people. That's great. So pick a distributor such as DistroKid, CD Baby, AWOL, etc. Distributors are also major labels. That's what the major labels distribute your music. That's what they are. Among other things, they're also promoters and marketers and things like that, but they're distribution entities. Distributors place your music on all streaming sites. You can opt out of the sites that you don't want. If you didn't want to be on Tidal for some crazy reason, you can uncheck the Tidal box and it'll go on all services except for Tidal. That's how that works. So that's it, the distribution. Then step 5, there's 3 steps to step 5. And this is all tracking and collecting your income from that song. Step 5A, the distributor and sound exchange then track, collect, and pay out your income from the master side of the song. When you create a song, you have the physical recording, the hard disk, the zeros and ones nowadays. That is the master. If you are the master owner, they pay you out on that. If you are the songwriter or a songwriter, then you are entitled to songwriting and publishing. That's collected by somebody else. So the distributor and sound exchange track and collect and pay out your income from the master side of the song. These are also referred to as sound recording royalties. There you go, sweetie. Oh, Mazzy's back. Mazzy was sick last show. She had a bunch of teeth pulled, but she's feeling great today. Okay, step 5B. The PRO tracks public performance usage of your composition and pays you based upon that usage. So that's what your performance rights organization tracks public performance. Basically, if your ears are hearing it, that's the job of the PRO to track. The masters are the physical ones and zeros on that digital download or that stream. The PRO tracks the intangible written work, and the publisher collects mechanical royalties. This is step 5C. The publisher collects mechanical royalties from the composition and pays you out your share and keeps their share. We'll get into publishing in a bit. And then step 6, make sure all of your collection is set up with each branch of step 5 and collect your income. That's basically how, from inception to completion, how you as an artist or as a producer, if you want to copyright your beats and put them out on SoundCloud or something like that, this is basically the steps you do. There you go, financial trail of an independent song. All right, what is next on the show? I'm gonna show you guys a little bit about TikTok. Let me pull this up. So here's what I've learned about TikTok. Pay attention, because this kind of sucks. So when you first join TikTok, there's no monetization at all. You don't get paid when if you get a viral video that does X amount of whatever, you don't get any money for that right away, period. You have to work the criteria for, okay, let me back up. In order to get paid on TikTok, you need to join their creator fund, and the criteria to apply for the creator fund is, let me make this bigger. There you go. You have at least 10,000 followers, have at least 10,000 video views in the last 30 days, and be at least 18 years old. That's the bottom criteria for joining their creator fund. You can't get paid if you're not in the creator fund, in this way anyway. And it doesn't, this says 2 to 4 cents per 1,000 views. It doesn't go by views. It goes by how many people take your song and make a video to it. I don't think it matters how many times that video streams. I think it matters how many individual people take your song and make their own TikTok video with it. Or at least that's the main aggregate number. So, and then you get paid on that usage from, I think, probably from the video streams. And then you can do paid promotion. You can be like, you know, an influencer. Influencers can get paid pretty well. I think hopefully you can see some of this on the screen. And I don't know if that's right. I wouldn't take that as the gospel. Let's see, paid. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. I think that's the main stuff to know about TikTok. I think they have, I don't know enough about this yet. They have some sort of a creator database that you can put your music up there and people can use it for their own TikToks. And if they use your stuff, then you can get paid for it. So there's some sort of a song database in TikTok that you can be a part of. And if somebody randomly, you know, stumbles across your song, or if that song ends up just getting used, then you get paid. Let me go over what's next. Producer income. I'm gonna do ear training soon. When am I doing ear training? Right now? Should I do ear? Yeah, let me do ear training before I pull up this producer income. But I'll give you guys a quick peek so that you can start formulating questions based on this. So this is I'm gonna go to ear training in a moment, but I'm going to let you look at this. Publishing, neighboring rights, artist development, education, Twitch type income, sound packs, endorsements, and executive production or beat slinging. Those are all of the different income paths of a producer. You can make good money doing any of those, pretty much. I'll go through them all in a bit. Get your questions together. And right now is ear training time. Rapid fire frequencies. We're going to go in with a little Skrizzly Adams today. Tipping point. Yep, here we go. Save, sure. Let me take some off the chat roll while I am. JVAC asks, hey Ken, are there ways for producers to get intern-like opportunities like engineers do? Absolutely. You know, you can... I would venture to say that any great producer who doesn't have a great assistant certainly wants one. And, you know, there's a plethora of stuff that you can be doing to help them in the studio. So I think a ton of producers have assistants, and you can approach them directly and just ask. My suggestion is get a great resume together. Don't load it with fluff. Anybody who's hired people doesn't want to see the fluff in a fucking resume. Get to it. Get solid references, 1 page, 2 pages at very most for your main resume, and this is the most important part. Research who you're trying to get a job from if you're sending resumes out. This is the part of the program that is sending resumes out, not looking for like beat placements and shit like that. If you're sending resumes out, I totally forgot why I was telling you all that. My brain is a little fuzzy. Okay, I'll get back to that in a minute when I remember why I was telling you that. Okay, we're going to go to ear training. Now, ear training, you should be able to download your sheets in the description of the YouTube video that you're watching now. Speaking of which, hey, if you are not yet a subscriber to the YouTube Mixing Night channel, please ring that bell, subscribe the channel, set your alerts for the next show. I really appreciate it, and I will continue to bring you great entertainment. And what am I doing? That's what I need. Okay, so here's your worksheet. It should be downloadable in the description to this video that you're watching, so download it. This is super easy. I'm going to play one song every 4 bars. I'm going to boost a different frequency. There's not going to be any time where a frequency isn't boosted. It's going to go from one boost to the next to the next. Let me show you. So this is going to have a boost. That's going to change. That's going to change. That's going to change. The whole time you're listening to one song, each time you need to guess which frequency is then being boosted at that section of music. Here's the catch. There's 15. I'm going to play this through one time. That's it. The second time through, I'm going to play it halfway through, and then I'm going to tell you what the answer is. So you really only get one time to lock in your best guess, one more time when we're going over answers, and I'll tell you each answer as we go. So here we go. Rapid fire frequencies. What frequency is being boosted? Let me play you first a little bit of the full mix without any treatment at all. This is Skrizzly Adams' Tipping Point. This is the original final mix.
When push calls to shove and you've had enough and you don't want me around, this is the tipping point when the motor gives out. When push calls to shove, you'll need someone left, 'cause I won't be around.
Okay, hope your ears are dialed in. Me and Brent produced that for Skrizzly Adams. Okay, frequency number 1. When I start, this isn't going to stop. Every single time it switches music, you got to pay attention, because as soon as it hits the next section, it's a different frequency. You got to guess them, write them down on your sheet as we go, and then we will compare them all afterwards. Here we go.
I don't care about you, just thought that we could get along. It was high on a feeling, I said I'd be there at 5:35, but I guess I was wrong, 'cause I got lost thinking how we fly down the park with my faith in the driveway. It was soul that was broken and a heart that's been beating. I don't love you now like you loved me then. Was it sort of beginning of the end? Is this the tipping point? Where the motor gives out. When push calls to shove and you've had enough and you don't want me around. This is the tipping point. Where the motor gives out. When push calls to shove, you'll need someone left, 'cause I won't be around. This is the tipping point. You gotta lie to say that we've lost control when we never really had it. You see, the devil don't do this alone, and I know it's so hard for you to take, 'cause you swore that you weren't gonna go run and tell your mother that I was the one. So why the hell bother? You don't love me now like you loved me then. Was this all the beginning of the end? Is this the tipping point? When the motor gives out. When push calls to shove and you had enough and you don't want me around. Is this the tipping point? When the motor gives out. When push calls to shove, you'll need someone left, 'cause I won't be around. I won't be around. Is this the tipping point? Yeah, just park the car and quick cut the engine and see if it starts when I put the key in. If it's in your heart, then give me one reason to fire it up and keep me believing. Just park the car and quick cut the engine and see if it starts when I put the key in. If it's in your heart, then give me one reason to fire it up and keep me believing. Just park the car and quick cut our engine, see if we stop when I put my key in. If I'm in your heart, then give me one reason to fire it up. But man, this is the tipping point. 'Cause the motor gave out. Yeah, push came to shove. We've had enough, and you don't need me around. Yeah, this is the tipping point.
13.
'Cause the motor gave out. Yeah, this push came to shove. You've had enough, and you don't need me around. Yeah, this is the tipping point. Yeah, 'cause the motor gave out. 'Cause push came to shove. You've had enough, and you don't need me around. This is the tipping point. Where the motor gives out. 'Cause push came to shove and you've had enough, 'cause I won't be around. This is the tipping point.
How did you all do? Okay, I've got the answers in front of me, and I'm going to play the suggestions, and after a couple bars, I'm going to talk into the mic and tell you what the answer is. So you've got to pay attention and make sure that you're listening to the right one, starting off with 1 through 15. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to let it play. I'm not going to tell you the frequency right away. In the middle of it, I'm going to tell you what the right answer is. So here's the first one.
I don't care about you, just thought that we could get along.
500 hertz. 500 hertz.
But I guess I was wrong, 'cause I got lost thinking how we fly down the park with my faith in the driveway. Was full, I was broken, and a heart that's been beating.
200 hertz. 200 hertz.
Is this the tipping point? Where the motor gives out.
3K. 3K.
This is the tipping point. Where the motor gives out. When push comes to shove, you'll need someone left.
100 hertz. 100 hertz.
This is the tipping point. You gotta lie to say that we've lost control when we never really had
10K. 10 kilohertz.
to do this alone, and I know it's so hard for you to take, 'cause you swore that you weren't gonna go run and tell your mother that I was the one. So why do
1K. 1 kilohertz.
you love me now like you love me then? Was this all the beginning of the end? Is this the tipping point? When the motor gives out, when push comes to shove,
60 hertz. 60 hertz.
is this the tipping point? When the motor gives out, when push comes to shove,
5K. 5 kilohertz.
'cause I won't be around, I won't be around. Is this the tipping point? Yeah, you just park the car and quick cut the engine to see if
2K. 2 kilohertz.
the key, and if it's in your heart, then give me one reason to fire it up and keep me believing. Just park the car and quick cut the engine to see if it starts when I put
8 kilohertz. 8 kilohertz. 8K.
me one reason to fire it up and keep me believing. Just park the car and quick cut our engine to see if we start when I put
4K. 4 kilohertz.
your heart and give me one reason to fire it up. But man, this is the tipping point. 'Cause I'm gonna get out.
700 hertz. 700 hertz.
We've had enough, and you don't need me around. Yeah, yeah, this is the tipping point. 'Cause I'm gonna get out.
12K. 12 kilohertz.
You've had enough, and you don't need me around. Yeah, yeah, this is the tipping point. Yeah, 'cause the motor gave out.
300 hertz. 300 hertz.
You've had enough, and you don't need me around. This is the tipping point where the motor gives out. 'Cause push came to
600
shove,
hertz.
you've
600
had
hertz.
enough, 'cause I won't be around. This is the tipping point.
All right. How did you do? I'm going to put up the answer sheet on screen so you can double check your answers and double check your work. But that's the top 15 rapid fire frequencies for January 20th. How did you do? Let me know on the chat roll how ear training went. Who won it over there? We always have a spirited competition on the chat roll for ear training and whatnot. And you know, I've been hearing also about these like studio parties and dorm parties and stuff like that for mixing night. You know, people getting together and like, you know, challenging each other on the ear training and checking out, you know, trying sprint mixes and stuff like that. So I think that sounds like a load of fun. If I had a bunch of people to sprint mix challenge against, I would be doing that every night. All right, ear training done and done. I hope you guys did well. We'll see what I can bring the next one for you. Let's see. I was starting with production. Yep. All right, I'm pretty on top here. Okay. Back to production. So as a producer, you have a lot of potential different income streams that you can tap into. The question is, you don't want to try and tap into all of them, and you want to try and pick where you think you can A, have the most success, and B, where you feel like you're happy and you like what you're doing, because if you want to be in the music business, you better love what you do, because you get to work on music every day. So how fun is that? But also, this is just the fucking worst business, a cesspool of just awful people. And you're going to run into a bunch of them. Please don't be one of them. Don't contribute to the fucking cesspool. Do good business, do great work, stand by your work, all of those things. Okay, back to this. Income streams, publishing. Producers earn publishing when they are also a songwriter on their own productions. And usually if you created the beat or wrote the lyrics and melody, you're a songwriter. The guy who creates the beat is a songwriter. They didn't write the lyric and melody, but they're still a songwriter. Okay, so you can get publishing. You can get neighboring rights. Okay, I did not know what the neighboring rights were. Now I do, and I've made a lot of money on them. So neighboring rights are paid to artists, producers, and musicians for international performance of songs. So neighboring rights do not cover master use, publishing, songwriting. Those three things are not, that's not what neighboring rights are. Neighboring rights are strictly for the performers, the artists, producers, and musicians and vocalists on a song that is played internationally. Now, you can partner with a neighboring rights collections agency. I am signed to Cobalt Neighboring Rights, and Cobalt scans all of the songs that I'm a performer on worldwide, and they collect neighboring rights on my behalf. America doesn't pay neighboring rights, so that's why I'm not mentioning America. And usually neighboring rights are only paid on songs that are really doing well. So if you have an international hit that you play guitar on, or that you produced, or something like that, then you can not only get paid for whatever you originally got paid for, but you can get paid neighboring rights. And if it's a big enough hit, or if it was in a big commercial or something over there, then there could potentially be a lot of neighboring rights waiting for you. These are in the thousands to tens of thousands if you're on the right songs. And I know people who, part of their business model is creating content that gets them neighboring rights, and they bank on neighboring rights. So it can be super lucrative if you're a performer performing on hit level material internationally, but that's really the bar. If it's not like a known song internationally, you're not going to get anything. You made 10 cents and nobody's going to collect that. Okay. Artist development. Me and Brent, I am one half of the production team Catalyst with a K. My production partner, Brent Colatalo, he and I have been together forever making music as the production team Catalyst. We've spent a lot of the last 4 or 5 years developing artists, and then, putting them out and retaining some of the rights and profiting from that. And it's been really great for us. It's been super lucrative. We've done a lot of work in sync licensing, synchronization licensing. Sync licensing is anytime your music gets married to a moving image. So it's the synchronization of audio to video. That's what sync means. SYNC. Whenever you see sync, that's what that means, and I'll get to it. So anyway, artist development. Let me back up. This can take on many forms, but the typical hope is that you develop an artist, in some capacity, and then share in the long-term income that artist generates. So what we do when we find a great artist that we have done some work with and we love, and we think we all click together and we all want to keep working together, we'll sign them to our production company, and we will develop them and create great songs and create a game plan to get those songs out. And how do you get the artist out there? And, as an independent, you just come up with the best game plan that you can with as much smarts as you can, and you go. and you course correct as you go, and you expect failure, and the thing that gets you around failure is perseverance. The first thing probably isn't going to go. The second, third, maybe even fourth thing won't go. But you learn something every time, and consistency is key, and you just keep getting better and eventually, But like I said, artist development, me and Brent have put a lot of our focus into artist development because it can be quite lucrative. Because here's the reality. When you sign to a major label, and this is applicable to producers as well, so when you sign to a major label as an artist, you give up your master, and they give you a royalty on the income from that master, but you give that up over to the major label. Now the trade-off is the major label has the ability to make you astronomically bigger as an artist than you could ever dream of getting on your own. That's the trade-off. So they take that master and they take all the income from it and they pay you out a little bit, but then they multiply it by 100 and you're making more. That's how record labels work and things like that. But if you're independent and you own your master, here's where that comes in handy. In streaming land, approximately, this is only Spotify numbers. I don't know what the other numbers are, but I assume that they're somewhat similar. Spotify land, 79% of a stream goes to the master. Approximately. It varies all the time. And 21% of a stream goes to all writers and all publishers. And that's why streaming sucks. But streaming, like Jake was saying earlier, has truly been the great equalizer, and this is what you need to know about streaming. And this goes for producers or artists or whoever, is there are more people making a living now. I think the stat that I saw recently was something like, I don't know, 29,000 artists worldwide are like making a good living at this just on Spotify alone. And that's way more artists than the major label system could ever support in a million years. And all of those artists are monetizing in ways that they never could before. So to me, people that are avoiding streaming are missing the boat. I mean, you may not do good in streaming at all. It's hard, it's not easy. It takes consistency. You got to write great songs. You got to try and get on playlists. You got to work it. But if you can get your streaming numbers up, that can be your own business. You can eat off of your streaming numbers. On Spotify alone, it's approximately 1 million streams equals $5,000 to all rights holders. So that's the math. Okay, back to producers. Next thing you can earn money on is education. You can teach locally online, create tutorials, do Skype sessions, any of that kind of stuff. And the more you get known, the more you're going to be sought after for teaching others your craft. You can do Twitch type income. I'll go over that in a minute. Sam Champagne cooked up a whole Twitch thing for me, so I kind of understand that much better now. You can create sound packs on a site like Splice or Sounds.com or something like that. You can do one of two things. You can either make royalty-free sound packs or licensable sound packs. So royalty-free is something like Splice. Splice is for one monthly fee. You can download any sound on the site that you want, up with as many credits as you have, and you can use that sound for anything that you want. It's supposed to be royalty free, sample free, all of that stuff. So that's a site like Splice. And if you're a producer, you can create sound packs to sell on Splice that may or may not net you good income. The top sellers on Splice do quite well. The bottom sellers, probably nobody even ever downloads their shit. So I think if you're going to do sound packs nowadays, tagging is super, super important. You've got to know how to tag your shit correctly so that people can find it. Creating licensable sound packs. Guys like Shroom and S1 do this sometimes. Illmind will do this sometimes, I think, where they'll create a sound pack that they still retain some rights to, but anybody who wants to use it for whatever can use it. And say say Mark Ronson used an Illmind sample on a new song. Well, Mark would negotiate with Illmind from that sample pack, has a certain percentage that he's supposed to get for that song. So Illmind would get that percentage because Mark used his sample on that sample pack. And that's how Illmind makes money on his sample packs. Or one of the ways that he makes money on his sample pack. So that's a possibility as well. And then you can do endorsements as a producer. You got to be a pretty big a producer to do endorsements. But they can be if that's something you're interested in. Executive production is a whole different thing. Executive producer, you can be just a figurehead ceremonial role, or you can be the true mastermind of a project, and you're not responsible for producing all of the individual songs, but you're responsible for the overall creative direction of the whole project at the executive level. So you're helping pick songs, you're helping steer those songs in the direction that makes the most sense for the project, and you're working closely with the artist and the producers and creatives to make sure that the project stays on course. And that you're getting the types of results that you get. And for that, you usually get a percentage of sales, a royalty, something like that, and a fee. Everything in the music industry is negotiable, everything. Okay, so that's producer income. Now let me get to producer placements. We're going to go long tonight, but there's a lot of stuff to cover. Okay. Now this is like beat slinging time. So I've never done beat slinging, but I just learned a whole bunch about it to do this show. And if you're just starting out, you can check, I suggest you check out a site called BeatStars. There's other sites. This is one of them. I don't have any affiliation with these guys. I don't know. BeatStars, this site is really, really easy for you to set up an account and license or sell your beats. You can set up different tiers. You can license only an MP3 or the full wave or the stems or all of the above. You can set what the usages for the licensees are. You can set different tiers. So you can set, $20 for your MP3 level of a beat, and maybe 30 people license it over the course of the next 5 years, and you make a bit of money on it. And maybe you set another beat, with full stems at, 300. And maybe you license that beat 10 times in the next 5 years. And you do that with 100 beats, and all of a sudden you've got kind of a nice residual income kind of always coming in on the stuff that you're creating and people are grabbing and using. And then you can, on top of that, you can get residual income from your PRO and your publisher for streaming income if any of those songs that were leased end up becoming songs that are, prevalent in the marketplace, earning money. You, as a writer, you retain your publishing and you can profit from that as well. So that's like ground level beat slinging for, young up and coming producers. I haven't done it, but I know a lot of people who have. And here's the this is how I would use beat slinging if I was coming up. It's your proving ground to find out what types of beats you're making that are most reactive, so that you have a great testing ground of, oh shit, every time I make this type of a beat, man, that shit licenses like crazy. People are scooping that shit up. People are asking me for more, but I'm making this type of beat and that really doesn't never go. Well, that's like market research for you. You can use beat slinging early on as market research to improve how you connect with your listening audience as a producer, and that's going to help you improve targeting the bigger artists up the chain, because if you can't connect with your audience, you're not going to connect with their audience or them. So I think beat slinging on something like BeatStars could be a great place for you to start, and maybe nobody licenses your shit, so what? Try again. Big deal. If this shit was easy, everybody would do it. This shit is not easy, and everybody wants to do it, but almost nobody's willing to put in the actual work. So if you are, you could be the one that breaks through, and that's no bullshit. Let's go to producer major label placements. When you place a song with a major label as a producer, let's assume you're also a songwriter, you get an upfront producer fee. This is negotiable. Everybody's fees are different. I'm not going to tell you what my producer fee is. The producer here's what you get when you get that fee, or what you're giving up. You get a producer fee. You give up the rights to your master portion of your production. So if you produced whatever single for that artist, and you currently own the master, and you do a major label deal and they put that out as a single, the label is going to give you a producer fee, and they're going to take ownership of that master. That's the way it is. That is the way shit works. And they'll pay you usually 3 points on that master out of the artist's share of royalties. You can get up to 5, but you got to be like a max margin to get 5. Okay, so 3 to 5% of artists' points after recoupment. After recoupment means after they have spent all of the money that they're going to spend, and the song is earning money and coming back. As that earning money comes back in, that's recouping money. You're paying off the money that they spent on you. Once that money is paid off, then people actually start making money from the profit. And if you're a songwriter, either the music or the lyric melody side of things, then you can usually get residual songwriting and publishing income, which usually you don't address that with the label at all. That's just your own shit. That has nothing to do with the label when you do a producer deck or a producer deal at all. And that's just negotiated between you and the artist. Whatever the publishing is, you make sure that it's all straight, and they can't release the song until all of the publishing is straight. So it's good to know. Sync placements. Okay. Me and Brent do a lot of sync work with our artists, and we're placing songs in sync all the time. And when I say we, I don't mean we. I don't know fucking anybody in sync world. Who I know in sync world is my sync agent. And my sync agent, where are they? I gotta. Oh, come on. I'll find them in a second. My sync agent is Lyric House. They're based in Los Angeles. And so basically, here they are. I go, I play my stuff for Lyric House, and they are the ones that listen and go like, okay, I think this is going to be a great song for sync. This is going to be, and they learn your catalog, and then they interface with all of the music supervisors and all of the people who are licensing music for sync in the video side of the world. That's all of their connections. And those people come to a sync agent like a Lyric House, and they say, okay, here's the scene, here's the vibe, here's what we're looking for, here's the budget we have to look, here's the budget we have to acquire songs. What's the best song you got for this opportunity? And then they work with these sync houses to populate all of the songs into their shows or whatever they're finding sync songs for. But typically in sync land, if you don't have a sync agent, nobody's going to deal with you, because it's TV land. It's just such a more corporate structure. Things just really need to be dotted I's and crossed T's, completely unlike the way the music industry is, and that's just the way it is. So the music supervisors know that they can go to the sync agents, and the sync agents are never going to send them a song that the sync agent does not already have all of the rights spoken for. They don't have to control all of the rights. They just know that they can license all of the rights. And if they know that, then they send over the song to the music supervisor. They say, okay, we want this song. Then comes the sync license or the sync fee. And what you're looking at in a sync fee is 2/2 of a upfront license. The publishing sync and the master sync, and these are called sides. So you may hear, oh, that sync went for 10 grand, it was 5,000 a side. And that means 5,000 went to all of the publishers and writers, and 5,000 went to all of the masters holders. And that's an upfront flat fee. It gets paid out, and that's that. And they don't have to pay anything else on that fee. And then your PRO collects usage, and your distributor collects usage. Once it actually plays on TV or wherever, then you'll get residuals from that. So So if you own your masters and you do sync placement, then you get more than if you don't own your masters. And all of these things are negotiable, but typically a sync placement, half goes to master, half goes to sync and pub. That's just the way it is. One exception in sync placement land is cover songs. Cover songs go only to you only get the master, and then whoever wrote the original song gets the publishing and songwriting. Okay. Let's see. Indie artist placements. These are, working with indie artists, everything is negotiable. Just, have an idea of what you want to get out of it before you get into it, so that you can craft a deal that makes sense for both you and the artist now and when the money's coming in. Very important. And then beat slinging, like I said, you can set it up with something like BeatStars. You can, set up different tiers of what you provide and how much you provide that with. So there's tons of different ways that you can make money as a producer. Okay, what am I still missing? I'm going to go over, here you go. There's some sync licensing info for you. Yeah, I just basically went over all that. So, okay. Next up. All right. Your performance rights organization, your publisher, and your distributor. Who does what? This shit is so fucking confusing. I can't tell you. I get it now, but it took a long time. So your distributor is somebody like a DistroKid or AWOL or Universal or Atlantic or something like that. That's the distributor. They don't issue mechanicals. They only issue and collect master use licenses. And they issue and collect the master half or the master side of sync licenses. And then they collect from streaming and sales. Distributors usually, I guess they would collect on the master if they rep you at sync. But like DistroKid's not going to collect on your sync licenses. That's not their job. They only handle streaming and that kind of public shit. Okay. Publisher, their main job is to issue. Now this is where the income goes. There's a whole creative component to a publisher's job that I'm not covering in this. This is merely the money. So a publisher issues and collects mechanical licenses to reproduce the composition. That's what a publisher does. And they also issue and collect sync licenses for publishing. So when you join a PRO, performance rights organization like BMI or ASCAP, you want to set up both your personal account and you want to set up your publisher account. Then, if you sign to a major publisher, that major publisher will take over the collection of your publisher half of your PRO, as well as the MLC licenses that just kicked in from the Music Modernization Act. So, I don't even have to worry about MLC. I'm signed to Cobalt as my publisher and Lyric House as a sync agent. Cobalt collects my MLC licenses. And BMI collects my writers, okay. And a publisher collects whenever a song sells, streams, or syncs. Now your PRO, Performance Rights Organization. Sorry, I'm going right to left here. PROs don't handle mechanicals or sync licenses. They only track public performance. So they monitor, collect, and pay out your public performance royalties as a songwriter or a publisher. And the best way, collect from streaming, radio play, blanket. The best way to envision what a PRO does is if your ears are hearing it, then it's probably a PRO's job to be tracking that public performance of it and collecting whatever income you have coming to you and paying out your portion of it. So that's what a PRO does. Okay, how are we doing on time? What else do I have on the... Man, I'm covering a lot here. Damn. Sync licensing. Monetizing Twitch. I'll get to that in a moment. Artist Financial Trail. Let me see if there's anything in Stratagies that I need to go over with you guys. When is it time to get a major publisher? A lot of people think, I'm a songwriter. I need a publisher to put me into great opportunities and to find placements for my songs. Usually the publishers don't do that. I got news for you. Occasionally they do. sometimes, but usually they don't. And I wouldn't rely on a publisher to get placements. You really need to get them on your own before you get a major label interested, or a major publisher. And that's the thing. A major publisher will be interested in you either when you have written great songs that they believe they can monetize. More likely, they'll sign you when you're already earning publishing income that they can collect and amplify. So they're like, all right, well, he made $15,000 last quarter. Man, if we get involved, we could put him in a bunch of rooms and maybe he makes $150,000 next quarter. That's kind of how publishers think. So they're not trying to take you from 0 to 100. They're trying to take you from like 55 to 100, if that makes sense. So PROs, I kind of just went over that. Neighboring rights, I've covered that tonight. Social media strategies. Again, just to reiterate, social media strategies, I think it's best to pick one or two platforms that you want to be really strong on and not try and blanket all platforms. You know, either be strong on TikTok or YouTube. Probably not both. They're completely different video, categories. You know, either Instagram or Twitter, but probably not both. You know, those kinds of things. And then you can really maximize your impact on one platform and build it out. And then it makes you look like a bigger artist, and your socials look healthy, and labels are interested in you, and fans love it, and blah, blah. Okay. Enough of that. I went over TikTok. Let me go over Twitch real quick. Do I have my... I don't have my Twitch here. Where the fuck is Twitch? Shit. I'm going to show you guys the Twitch stuff next episode. I don't know where it is right now. I thought I put it in here. Publishing. Yeah, I need to cover this for you guys. Okay. This is super, super, super important. If you're just tuning in, I'm Ken Lewis. This is Mixing Night. Pay attention to this shit if you are a writer, a producer, or artist who is a songwriter or beat maker as well. Beat makers are songwriters. You're writing the music. Okay. Sorry, I'm going to juice myself. Iced coffee, man. It's the best shit ever. Okay. There are two main types of publishing deals. There's a co-publishing deal and an administration deal. And they are very, very different. And you do them for different reasons for both. You do a co-publishing deal for the reasons if you want an advance so that you can live comfortably for a while you're writing songs. You can focus all of your energy on songwriting. You take that advance. You stay focused. You get in the trenches. You write a bunch of great songs, and you start trying to monetize them before your advance runs out. And then, you start generating a regular income. So the other thing with a co-publisher is you get creative support. So you get an advance and creative support from a major company that's supposed to be tied into everybody. I got news. Most of the time, they don't give you much creative support. Sometimes it can definitely happen, but that's something that you want to be really careful to make sure they really believe in you and they're really going to give you creative support, not just put it on paper. Okay. Now, the other big component of a co-publishing deal is that you give up ownership of your copyright. So when you write a song, by default, by law, you own the copyright. The intangible work belongs to you. When you do a co-publishing deal, they own your copyright, and they control and collect and administer it and pay you out your portion of income on that copyright. And the main reason you would do a co-publishing deal is you need somebody out there collecting for you, and you also want somebody out there finding you opportunities so they can do both of those things sometimes. Can be a great situation. I don't know too many people with co-publishing deals who were happy with them. I had a co-publishing deal, and I fucking hated it. So now I have an administration deal, which I like a lot better. But they don't give you any creative support. I don't need it myself, but you might. They don't give you an advance. I don't need it, but you might. But you retain ownership of your copyright, and you only license that copyright to the publisher for the term of the deal. So if it's a 3-year contract with the administration publisher, then they will collect on your copyrights for 3 years. At that point, your ownership reverts back to you, and you can do whatever else you want. You can keep going with them. You can move it to a different company. You can do whatever you want. Typically, administration, they keep 10 cents and they pay out 90. Co-publishing, they keep a quarter and they pay out 75. Here's what you need to know about the 90-10 and the 75-25. If you're looking at a whole pie, 100% pie, half is publishing, half is songwriting. So $1 comes in, half goes to the publisher, half goes to the songwriter. A co-publisher takes half of the half. So the 50 cents of the dollar that goes to the co-publisher, they keep half of it, which is a quarter, and they pay you out the other quarter. That's how that works in co-publishing land. And then your PRO, Performance Rights Agency, collects the other half. Your publisher doesn't touch the other half. So your PRO collects half, your publisher collects the other half and pays you out a quarter. If you've done a major publishing deal and you are unrecouped, you still owe them money back for your advance, because an advance is a loan that you pay back only through your income with that company. You don't have to pay back your advance out of your own pocket. They can only take it out of money they earn from your works. But they take 50 cents of every dollar, the major publisher, and they pay you out a quarter of that, right? But when you're unrecouped, when you still owe them money, they take that 50 cents and they keep that 50 cents until you're paid back. And you only pay them back a quarter at a time. Out of your little quarter share, that's how they make their recoupment of the money that you owe them. So they're making pure profit at the time that you're paying them back a chunk of your advance. Record recoupment works a similar way. The creatives always get shitted on. We are the fucking bottom of the barrel. Get used to it now. I mean, if any of these companies can find a way to keep money in their pockets and take it out of yours, I guarantee you they're going to do it. So it's one of the reasons for this show. I want to show you guys where all of your money is so that you can go find it and you can make sure that you get what's coming to you, because, man, this shit is just so confusing. Okay, administration. You retain ownership of your copyright, but you don't get an advance or creative support, and they typically take a dime of every dollar. Okay. Now, administration plus. Companies like Cobalt do this. I think there's other companies that do admin plus deals as well. So it's exactly like all of these above terms, except they do offer an admin plus deal offers some creative support. And whenever they offer creative support that lands you an opportunity that earns publishing, they then collect that at 20% instead of 10%, I believe. That's roughly how an admin plus deal works. So it can be awesome for people who don't want to be wrapped up in a full co-pub, but they would like a little bit of creative support. I think Cobalt does admin plus deals. I just have an admin deal. They just do my collection worldwide for me. Let's see. What else have I... just because I love the way it looks, I'm going to show you guys the new... So I just acquired my URL, kenlewis.com. So if you want to check it out, go to kenlewis.com. It's just a one-pager. Me and Mixing Night. And then we just redid my mixing and production site, which is iproducemusic.com. And Lori did all of this work. Lori is a fantastic website builder. My wife, Lori, who is running the cameras right now. Lori runs all the cameras for the show, and she helps me put together the whole show. She's integral, and Dominic is over in Germany right now working on the show as well. He's keeping control of my chat roll right there. So this is the new site. Here's the credits. Boom. Yeah, I'm doing okay. I have a listen section for anybody who wants to hear some of my work. And then what nice things people say, and then other things, so check out my kenlewis.com if you want. Did I miss any of these? I think I've covered damn near everything. Wow. Did I do... Yeah, I did. Okay. Oh, there it is. Monetizing Twitch. I thought I had it in here. Okay. Here's... I'm just going to put this on... Where's the... I didn't have time to organize this as well as I wanted to, but I think here it is. You can set up as a Twitch affiliate. you know, I'm going to do this right, and I'm going to show it next episode, and spend a little bit more time on it, because some people are really banking on Twitch, and I think like Twitch and TikTok and things like that are can be great financial drivers for you guys. All right. Anything else from the chat roll? Hey, Jimmy Larice. Jimmy Larice on the chat roll asks, "Hey Ken, what advice do you have for an artist who has spent many years honing his craft, but is brand new when it comes to fans? Any tips on how to get streaming numbers up? Try and get on playlists. Make great music, and then try and, you know, there's services out there, I can't think of what they are offhand, but they exist, of, you know, playlisting who to send songs to and whatnot. So here's what you do in playlisting land. Find the lists that are actually really super appropriate for your song. Don't just blanket to all lists, because they're going to remember and hate you. Don't waste anybody's time. Find the lists where your song could be really reactive, and send only your song with a very short link, not a file, just a link to stream. With a really short, hey, my name is Jimmy Larice, I'm an artist, please give my song a listen and consider it for your playlist. You know, I've been doing X, Y, and Z. Keep it to like one paragraph max. They don't need to know your life story. All they need to do is click and listen and go, okay, I like this, I'm going to add it to the playlist. Other than that, it's all fan interaction. It's getting on the keyboard, and anytime somebody posts on your YouTube video or your, you know, whatever, that your Instagram, that you're interacting with them and you're trying to bring them into your world. Otherwise, you know, it's just, so it's really hard. Anything that you can do directly to interact with your fans, I mean, it's the one fan at a time thing is really no bullshit. Okay. I am about spent on the income episode. So I'm gonna sprint mix a little Skrizzly Adams 28, and yeah, let me play you a little bit of 28 before I sprint it while I'm setting it up. The new Skrizzly EP, Too Close to Fire, is doing really, really well for us, and this is, you know, artist development. You know, this is artist development land. This is you know, we've been developing Skrizzly for a really long time. He's independent. We put out songs independently, and we profit pretty well from them. And you can see, you know, we're getting streams. These aren't bought. These are, you know, fans. So, you know, nobody's getting rich, but it's piling up, and then hopefully the syncs are going to start coming, and the whole project will pick up momentum, and, you know, maybe a major wants to get involved. Maybe we stay independent and just eat off of streaming and sync. Okay, so here's 28, and I'll play it for you while I'm setting up my sprint mix.
You tell me something that'll bring me home. Let me know that I ain't too far gone. She said, but you can't have it all. You're just hell-bent on something that you'll never get. Yeah, feeling
give me a minute to set this up.
Regret. But I can't let it go. Then I see you smiling, and it calms me down, 'cause she don't have that white flag hanging from her house. Now I lose my breath when I try to scream, and it's been 10 years since I turned 18. No, I'm not the man that I thought I'd be by now. Now the car just stalls when the light turns green. It's like all my plans still feel like dreams. I'm not sure what it all quite means right now. My breath when I try to scream, and it's been 10 years since I turned 18. No, I'm not the man that I thought. It's like all my plans to feel like dreams. I'm not sure what it all quite means right now. Not a car just try to scream, and it's been 10 years. Taste from my mouth, you're smiling, and it calms me down. 'Cause she know now, 'cause there's no way to get the bad taste from my mouth. Then I see you smiling, and it calms me down. 'Cause she know now, put it out quiet means right. Hey, hey, woo. That I could be forever young. Yeah, the time would never have to come. Remember, you can't. Oh, you're just hell bent on living sent. Don't want anybody to tell me that I could be forever young. Yeah, the time would never have to come. 'Cause she don't have that white flag hanging from her house. Now I do down. 'Cause she don't have that white flag. But I gotta let it go. And you see me crash. Oh, I was the man that I thought I'd be by now. Now the car just oh, I'm not the man that I thought I'd be by now. 10 years since I turned 18. No, I'm not the man that I thought I'd be by now. Now the car just stalls when the light turns green. It's like all my oh, bring me home. Let me know that I ain't too far gone. Tell me. Don't take me. I would be by now. Now the car just stops when the light turns green. It's like all my plans to feel like dream. I know what it all means right now. Na 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 na. I would be by now. Now the car just stops when the light turns green. It's like all my plans to feel like dreams. Yeah, I don't know. Car just stops when the light turns green. It's like all my plans like dreams. I'm not sure what it all quite means right now. I just I'm not sure what it all quite means right now. I just stalls when the light turns green. It's like all my plans still feel like dreams. I'm not sure what it all quite means. And it calms me down. 'Cause she don't have that white flag hanging from her house. Now I do. And it calms me down. Now I lose my breath when I try to scream. And it's been 10 turn. No, I'm not the man I thought. Now the car just stalls when the light time would never come. Remember, you can't have it all. You're just hell bent on living like you're heaven sent. Don't want anybody to forget. Oh, but I gotta let it go. And you see me crying. But But it's running out, forever young. Yeah, the time would never have to come. Remember, you can't have it all. Oh, bring me home. Let me know that I ain't too far gone. She said, but you can't have it all. You're just hell-bent on something that I would be by now. Now the car just stalls when the light turns green. It's like all my plans feel like dreams. Yeah, I don't know what it all quite means right now. Na 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 then I see her smiling, and it calms me down. Cause she know hanging from her house. Now I lose my breath when I try to scream, and it's 10 years since 18. The man that I thought I'd and now the car just stalls when the light turns green. It's like all my plans feel like dreams. I'm not sure what it all quite means right now. Yeah, tell me something that'll bring me home. Let me know that if I... She said, but you can't have it all. I say, baby, once when you bring me, let's go and take me out. What it all is right now.
So that's supposed to be a buried underneath vocal. You're supposed to only hear it under the music and not understand what it's talking about in that bridge section right there. So that's why I'm keeping it low in the mix.
Then I see her smiling, and it I say, baby, once when you bring me down to me, let's go and take me out. Now the car just stalls when the light turns green. It's like all my plans feel like dreams. Yeah, I don't know what it all quite means right now. Na 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 na.
I still got a minute to tweak.
You tell me something that'll bring me home. Let me know that I ain't too far gone. She said, but you can't. Oh, you're just hell-bent on something you never get. Yeah, feeling that you'll soon regret. Ah, but I can't let it go. Then I see her smiling, and it calms me down. Cause she don't have that white flag hanging from her house. Now I lose my breath when I try to scream, and it's been 10 years since I turned 8. No, I'm not the man that I thought I'd be by now. Now the car just stalls when the light turns green. It's like all my plans still feel like dreams. I'm not sure what it all quite means right now.
That's it. 10 minutes. Start to finish. Skrizzly Adams, 28. Produced by Catalyst. Thank you for hanging with me on the Income episode mixing night. This is Ken Lewis. Man, I'll see you next show. We got another show in 2 weeks. Please join me for that. Tell your friends, tell your studio friends about mixing night. Trust me, they don't know. This is a tiny little show. We're expanding fast, but if you don't tell somebody, they don't know. So please spread the word, and thanks for joining me tonight, and I will see you on the next one. Here's 28 from Skrizzly Adams. Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining me.
You tell me something that'll bring me home. Let me know that I ain't too far gone. She said, but you can't have it all. You're just hell-bent on something that you'll never get. Yeah, feeling that you'll soon regret. Ah, but I can't let it go. Then I see you smiling, and it calms me down. Cause she don't have that white flag hanging from her house. Now I lose my breath when I try to scream, and it's been 10 years since I turned 18. No, I'm not the man that I thought I'd be by now. Now the car just stalls when the light turns green. It's like all my plans still feel like dreams. I'm not sure what it all quite means right now. Tell me that I could be forever young. Yeah, the time would never have to come. Remember, you can't have it all. You're just hell-bent on living like you're heaven sent. Don't want anybody to forget.
We have a Clubhouse hangout going on right now on Clubhouse. Mixing Night After Party. Mixing Night After Party on Clubhouse. Check it out.
Cause there's no way to get the bad taste from my mouth. Then I see you smiling, and it calms me down. Cause she don't have that white flag hanging from her house. Now I lose my breath when I try to scream, and it's been 10 years since I turned 18. No, I'm not the man that I thought I'd be by now. Now the car just stops when the light turns green. It's like all my plans feel like dreams. I'm not sure what it all quite means right now. Yeah, tell me something that'll bring me home. Let me know that I ain't too far gone. She said, but you can't have it all. I say, baby, once when you bring me down, take me on the store and take me out. Want it all, so right now I lose my breath when I try to scream, and it's been 10 years since I turned 18. But I'm not the man that I said I would be by now. Now the car just stops when the light turns green. It's like all my plans feel like dreams. Yeah, I don't know what it all quite means right now. Na 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 na
Thank you for joining me for Mixing Night. This is Ken Lewis.